lovely fans. Today I would like to talk about McDonald's. I know, not a topic I normally discuss, but bear with me, there's a reason. So yesterday, a fan was engaging with me, said he just heard about me from a colleague and was going through my pictures, thought it was great, liked my page, we were messaging back and forth, it was going great. And then all of a sudden he says, now, don't take this the wrong way, but I was going through your pictures and I saw that you gave your kid a Happy Meal. Do you know what an evil, soulless corporation McDonald's is? I consider giving your kid a Happy Meal to be child abuse. I was like, what? I really think you're making a bigger deal out of this than it actually is. We only go to McDonald's occasionally. It's not child abuse. It's okay. Calm down, he gets the apple slices and the yogurt with the Happy Meal. He gets a smoothie instead of pop or Coke or whatever. We follow the nutritional guidelines for my kid. It's okay. It's not child abuse. Oh, you don't think this is a big deal? Let me tell you what I think about McDonald's. And then proceeded to rant for several hours. Some of his allegations about McDonald's were quite disturbing, so I decided to look them up. One of the things that he mentioned was that McDonald's uses meat suppliers that use rape rods, his words, for their cattle. And that he basically considers it rape to artificially inseminate cattle. So first of all, artificial insemination is not uniformly done across the cattle industry. I've been around cattle my whole life. So never once have I seen a cow using a rape rod, or he called it a stick that has semen on it and they just shove it up the cow's vagina and that's how they inseminate the cow. No, never in my life have I ever seen that done. And I've been around plenty of cows getting hands shoved up their rear ends. No rape rod happening. And again, it's not uniformly done for artificial insemination. Anyway, many farmers use stud bulls. But artificial insemination is the actual term, not rape rods. This is a PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or basically a bunch of very dogmatic activists, if you can call them that. That's what PETA calls them. Usually artificial insemination is done to time the births of the calves so that they're all born around the same time, so that they're all within a few weeks of each other's age, so that they have a uniform group of calves to take when they go to market. And it's basically intrauterine injections that are done for fertilization treatments for human women. It's not rape. It's not done violently. It's okay. His next argument was that they murder chicks for their eggs. So back in 2013, there was a group 2016. I'm looking at notes to make sure I get all this accurate. So United Egg Producers announced in 2016 that they would no longer cull male chicks. So it used to be that egg-laying chickens, when male chicks would hatch, because at egg farms, they would cull the male chicks or kill them. Usually humanely, but there was an animal rights group that exposed cruelty back in 2013, showing that these chicks were not humanely killed. And they filmed it, put it online. When McDonald's saw this, they pulled out of those suppliers. McDonald's does not stand by murdering chicks. And so this is from an article from Washington Post. So the animal rights group Mercy for Animals alleges Creekside, which was the farm that they filmed, supplies chicks to Creekside was a farm that they bought from. Yeah. So Creekside supplies chicks to Cuckoo, KU-KU, which sells eggs to Burnbrae Farms, which McDonald's buys farms. So they were filming at Creekside, which supplies the chicks to Cuckoo, which sells eggs to Burnbrae Farms. So these were two farms in Alberta. Mercy for Animals describes Burnbrae as McDonald's Canada's exclusive providers of eggs for Egg McMuffins, although Burnbrae insists none of the eggs that they sell to McDonald's comes from Alberta. Still, the group couldn't resist playing up the imagery of a supply chain tainted by even an indirect association with the farms in question. Every Egg McMuffin represents misery and deprivation for a hen who is crammed into a cage so small she can't even spread her wings or walk, it said in a news release. I will get more on the humane treatment of animals in a bit. We're talking about the chicks. McDonald's found out about this and dropped that supplier because they care about where their food comes from. So they're not going to put up with that. His next allegation is that the dairy cows have their calves murdered so that they can breed them year after year and make sure they keep producing milk. So, milk comes from Saputo, Saputo, for McDonald's Canada. Saputo follows Canadian national standards for the care of the calves. And it doesn't make economic sense to kill calves anyway. Why would you kill a calf that you could sell for thousands of dollars? That makes no sense. Why would anyone do that? So this is the statement from Saputo's website. We expect all milk producers to comply with recognized standards validated by third-party animal welfare audit. On the issue of pain relief, we expect our suppliers to eliminate or modify routine management practices that are unnecessary or cause pain. These include the practice of tail docking cattle or the use of the use of pain control when dehorning or disbudding cattle. We expect our suppliers to implement appropriate animal care awareness and training programs, including a mandatory animal care code of conduct that is reviewed annually. And they also follow the Canadian national standards for care of calves. That's stated on their website. So I looked it up. What are the Canadian national standards for care of calves? And it's all cattle in general. But I was specifically looking for the calves because he claimed that McDonald's uses suppliers that murder calves. They follow the national standards, and this is assured by independent audit. So here are the national standards concerning calves, especially in regards to their mother and milk. This is straight from the handbook that you can find online, Canadian National Standards, Dairy Industry. There are benefits to both calf and dam, which is the mother cow, by allowing the pair to bond. Allowing the calf to spend a longer period of time with the dam may result in lowered morbidity and mortality in the calf. However, separation stress to both the cow and calf will be higher the longer they are together. Cow health is generally improved by allowing the calf to suckle, related to oxytocin effects on the postpartum uterus. And then it goes on to recommend that you can reduce separation stress by gradually weaning over a few weeks. And they also have standards for what they do with the calves after they're separated from their mothers. House unweaned calves individually or in well-managed groups of less than 10 calves. Provide bedding suitable for the housing system and seasonal conditions, e.g., straw offers more insulation than shavings for housing during cold months. Provide calves with an opportunity to exercise and engage in normal social behavior. Position hutches to minimize environmental impacts, e.g., out of the wind, facing south, shaded areas. Also, regulations for weaning calves. So it goes on, it has 2 pages about how to wean the calves for the least amount of stress for the calf and the mother, and to make sure that the calf has proper nutrition through all of this. And it talks about sanitation in the calving pens as well. So where the cows give birth to their calves, talks about how they have to sanitize the calf so that there's no bacteria getting into the babies, proper care for the umbilical cord. They're very strict about this because they care about the welfare of the animals. And if any sick animals get into the food supply, it could kill people. They care about their animals, and it doesn't make economic sense not to treat them well. His next argument was that there's so much water used for agriculture. So it is true that 70% of the world's water use is used for agriculture. But irrigated farmland is more efficient use of water than relying on rainwater, because you can put the water directly where you need it and you only use exactly as much as you need. And extensively grazed grasslands purify drinking water better than any other land use. That was from a website about the capitalism of farmland and how it makes more economic sense to do things with modern farming techniques, and you'll waste less money by using that. So that's where that quote came from. His next argument is that animals are sentient beings and it's not right to eat them. Well, a number of studies show that plants are also capable of feeling pain, so do with that information whatever you want. And animals feel pain in different ways than humans. This has been proven in study after study. And there's also the question of, do animals have the same rights as humans? Unlike animals, humans are morally accountable for their actions. That's why there's laws governing what people do and not laws governing what animals do. If I go stab someone because I'm mad at how they're treating me, I'm going to go to jail for murder. If a cow stabs me because they're mad at how I'm treating them, I should have gotten out of the cow's way. The cow's not going to go to jail. The cow's not going to be put down. I'm stupid for pissing off the cow. We are mentally different. So, yes, they're sentient, but it's not the same. His next argument, there are no regulations about the agriculture industry. That's blatantly false. That's not true at all. There are regulations. There are industry standards that exist to protect the animals and to protect the food supply. That's why when there is a contaminated product, they recall it and investigate the plant. And that's why they have health inspectors that go and investigate slaughterhouses and farms to make sure they're complying, to make sure it's safe. There are independent audits. This is something that is taken very seriously. He told me to look at the Dominion documentary. So this is an anti-agriculture documentary that basically makes the argument that people have no right to have dominion over the land. Claims that farmers kill animals that aren't economically viable, but really, the only animals that get put down are the ones that aren't going to survive. I have helped my mom and my grandpa nurse a baby calf, even well past the point of spending more money on this thing than we were going to make trying to save it. Like, thousands of dollars spent on this animal that was not going to make that much money at the market because we care about their welfare. And it ended up dying in the end, but we tried everything to save this calf's life. Farmers don't just kill animals that aren't going to make them money. Specifically, he said that they kill runts. Only if they're too small to survive. Just because it's a little small doesn't, no. That doesn't happen. And yes, the whole documentary is footage captured at actual farms. There are people out there who do bad things. And when they get caught, they are punished. Because that's how it works. And just because a few people did bad things doesn't make the entire industry that way. When a lawyer does something wrong, that doesn't mean the entire legal system is screwed up. That might be a bad example because there's thousands of rape kits out there not tested. Let me think of another example. Just because there was an E. coli contamination in spinach doesn't make spinach bad, and we should stop eating spinach. Same concept. Just because there are bad people out there doesn't mean the entire industry is corrupt. It means that those are bad people doing bad things. It's a good thing they were caught. It's a good thing they were held accountable. His next thing, he told me to look at the UN and World Health Organization reports about animal agriculture being the #1 cause of environmental destruction and pollution. So this is from 2006, which was 13 years ago. And at that time, animal agriculture, it was all agriculture, not just animal agriculture. It was 18% of total worldwide emissions. They gave a list of recommendations for farmers to reduce their emissions by half. Since then, emissions have been cut 30%. And so even those recommendations being partially implemented have made a huge impact. That's down to 12%. Rounding up, this is 13, which is less than driving. So if you're driving somewhere, making more of an impact than eating a chicken. And then he said that McDonald's supports genocide because killing sentient animals is genocide. There are arguments for going meatless because it's not needed for survival and people only eat meat for its taste and convenience. fine. If you don't want to eat meat, no one is forcing you to. But saying that it's not ethical to eat meat, that's not necessarily true. This is still an argument that, like, there's no easy answer to this. So Jay Bost, an agroecologist, says, if ethical is defined as living in the most ecologically benign way, then in fairly specific circumstances, each eater must educate himself. In fairly specific circumstances of which each meat eater must educate himself, eating meat is ethical. So, what's worse? You know, like a deer being out there chased by wolves and starving through the winter? Or a cow that's pampered its whole life? Like, these cows that I've been around my whole life, like, they're so spoiled. They're not treated badly. There's no predators. We protect them. We feed them. We keep them healthy. It's environmentally and ecologically most benign way. These animals would not be so well treated in the wild. Like, it's not genocide. Here's another quote for you. Philosopher Daniel Dennett. He says, consciousness requires a certain kind of informational organization that does not seem to be hardwired in humans, but is instilled by human culture. Moreover, consciousness is not black or white, all or nothing type of phenomenon as is often assumed. The differences between humans and other species are so great that speculations about animal consciousness seem ungrounded. Cows are intelligent. I'll give them that. But man, can they be stupid. So can people. That's not necessarily a great argument. But, like Mr. Dennett said, speculations about animal consciousness are ungrounded. It's not morally comparable to killing another human. It's just not. So now that that's out of the way, another argument. Okay, they boil chickens alive. Their suppliers boil chickens alive. So this actually did happen. Multiple places. So there was Star Poultry Supply, where they were boiling the chickens, I guess to defeather them. Or they'd hang them by their feet and dunk them in boiling water. And they're supposed to have been stunned, like with a little like taser stunned, unconscious, or dead, so that they wouldn't feel it, but some of them were still alive and awake, and it was horrifying. And Tyson, McDonald's biggest chicken supplier, in 2016, there was footage that exposed cruelty there. So McDonald's responded to this because they aren't the unethical monsters that people want to make them out to be. McDonald's, from their website, and they have a whole animal ethics, like way they treat animals. It's all listed on their website, what their standards are. It says, McDonald's now requires suppliers to gas chickens until unconscious before slaughtering and give them bigger, brighter enclosures with perches to encourage natural chicken behavior. Seems like they responded appropriately. And again, there are independent audits to make sure this actually happens. If something is caught where someone's doing something wrong, they fix it. Like, yeah, people are going to screw up, but that's why there are audits. And when this stuff gets caught, it's dealt with. So, to counter the argument, it's a soulless corporation. This soulless corporation created the industry's first animal welfare team back in 1999. And since then, a lot of other corporations have followed suit. So that egg thing where they were culling the male chickens, they were waiting on McDonald's statement to see what they would say before they released a public statement. Like Subway was like, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna use suppliers that cull their male chicks." And then McDonald's was like, "Wait, that's happening? We're not putting up with that." And then 98% of egg farmers in the United States said, "Oh, well, if McDonald's isn't going to buy our chickens, then we guess we're going to have to stop this because it's not okay. McDonald's ethical practices influence the entire industry. A statement from their website. We care about the humane treatment of animals and believe animals should be free from cruelty, abuse, and neglect. Abuse is never tolerated. We have strict policies in place concerning the treatment of animals that our suppliers must adhere to at all times. We also work with our suppliers and outside experts to continuously improve our standards and practices, both within McDonald's and across the industry. This soulless corporation also runs the Ronald McDonald House. I have some friends who stayed at the one in Calgary while their daughter was in the hospital. She got leukemia and then a secondary infection that almost killed her. She was in the hospital for months. She was in a coma. She's pretty much okay now, like out of the hospital, no more cancer. Yay. But while they were in the Ronald McDonald's house, while their daughter was in the hospital fighting for her life, they received Christmas gifts for their entire family. The Calgary Flames hockey team came to visit them there. And they were treated wonderfully. And they were given all this for free. Soulless, I know. They also employ more than 85,000 people across Canada. So for some quick math, okay, 85,000 people divided by the 30 million approximate, that is 2 out of every 1,000. So 1 in 500 people in Canada works at McDonald's. They promote from within. The average employee stays for 2 years. Economic stimulus to the country. Like, so many people in my family worked there. And they didn't always love the people that they worked with, but they didn't have any complaints about how the company itself treated them. His final argument was, what would Jesus think? Jesus said to do unto others as you would have done unto you. Jesus also said, this is a quote from Luke chapter 6, verses 41 through 42 from the King James Version. Direct quote from Jesus. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but perceiveth not the beam that is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, cast out first the beam of thine own eye. Which I interpret to mean, worry about yourself. As for me and my house, we will occasionally eat at McDonald's, but you are free to worry about yourself. This is my defense of McDonald's against slanderous, outlandish, blatantly false accusations. Feeding my child a Happy Meal a couple times a year is not child abuse. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe.